welcome to today's Indie Music Spotlight. You know, some of the best musicians you'll ever hear are independent artists. Of course, your major artists and musicians, they were all independent artists. And in this day and age, it's almost better to be an independent artist. I think Will Van Winkle would agree. Amazing musician and band. What a story. Playing in over 6 countries and 3 continents. His whole life, from coffee shops to college campuses and beyond. Here he is today, Will Van Winkle. How are you, Will?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. When I first heard your name, Will, I thought, man, that's a cool name. I had no idea it was your real name.
Yeah, no, I get that all the time. People ask me if it's a real name, and then when I tell them it is, they don't believe me. So I have to whip out my driver's license and show them proof that it is my real name. In normal life, people believe me, but when I'm playing and I get off stage and people talk to me, it's like, no, that's not real. So yeah, it's always fun to prove the point, you know?
Well, you leveraged your name because not only it is a cool name and you named your band after that, but there's a story to that, and it has to do with your time in Berlin and American folklore. Tell us about that, man.
Yeah, so I had some minor successes before the band, so I wanted to keep my name in the band so that I'm not starting from the very beginning, And when I was over in Germany before I moved back to the U.S., I was playing with a band called the Hardcore Troubadours. When I moved back to the U.S., I decided I was going to put together my own band. And so I'm thinking for a band name, I'm trying to figure stuff out, and I wanted to play on the Van Winkle part of it. So I'm looking through the story of Rip Van Winkle by Washington Irving. Is that his? I always get Washington Irving and Irving Berlin confused. So it's like, I think it's Washington Irving who wrote the story. But when Rip Van Winkle fell asleep, he plays a game of 9-pin with the Henry Hudson crew. And for some reason, I found a version that said he played a game of 6-pin. Now, it being American folklore, it shouldn't be a translation issue, but because there was a different version than the normal one that you would find anywhere, I wanted to use that as kind of the band name. And I've, with album titles or EP titles, I've been playing off of the story as well. Our first EP was the Perpetual Club of Sages, Philosophers, and Other Idle Personages. Wow. Well, that's how they described the bar that Rip Van Winkle would hang out at. It was just, basically a bunch of riffraff. And then the Diedrich Knickerbocker Diaries, well, the story of Rip Van Winkle is an account from the Diedrich Knickerbocker papers, but the diaries sounded a little bit better than the papers. And then I added volume 1 because I thought that sounded kind of cool. Like maybe there's going to be a volume 2, maybe not. We'll see what happens in the future. Right now we're just releasing singles. So maybe our next EP will do a volume 2. Maybe we'll pull another line out of the story. We'll see.
Wow. Well, hey, obviously it took off. People welcomed you with open arms. Tell us about the band. And folks, at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see the website to go to right now. But you know what? Give us a kind of a snapshot of what the whole band's about, what it sounds like.
So we're an Americana band. That means we're confused and we play a little bit of everything. We do rock, we do country, we do blues, but you can hear the influences intertwined in everything. So it's like, if we're doing rock, more of the rock stuff, you can hear that there's a country influence. If we're doing more of the country stuff, you can hear there's more of a rock influence, vice versa. I mean, it just, with everything, it kind of flows together. And so Americana, the genre started when they didn't know where to put certain bands. And so people are always asking people that aren't familiar with the genre, what is Americana? Well, the best description would be if Tom Petty came out with his first album today, he would have been put in Americana. Back then it was Southern rock. Now it's, they didn't quite know where to put it. So, you could compare us to bands like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and some Lynyrd Skynyrd, Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, Will Hoge, those kind of guys. That's the direction that we're at. And it wasn't like any conscious effort to go into that direction. It's just that's how I write. I like so many different styles that I put everything in there. And then when you put in the influences from the band, Butch Bella, our drummer, he liked 80s rock. Alan Atkinson, the bass player, has been with us for 7 years now. He liked 70s rock and Southern rock. And then our guitar player, who's been with us, since October, and actually the singles that we're releasing this year are the first ones that he's been on. He is 22 years old and, from Oklahoma. So he likes country rock and things like that. So, everybody's influences are all over the place, and it shows when you listen to the music, but it's not in like some kind of cacophony it doesn't make sense. It all comes together in a really cohesive way.
Wow. I love Germany. What brought you to Germany in the first place?
Oh, well, there's a saying, it's better to have loved than lost and still be with the psycho. And I was married to a German diplomat.
Wow.
So, I'm from Houston, and the consulate's over off of Post Oak Boulevard. So anybody, who's familiar with Houston kind of knows where that is.
Wow.
Well, there was this watermelon festival that I used to go to, and it was like at this old hippie hangout called Last Concert Cafe. I knew a band. She knew a band. We met there. I found out later she was dating the drummer of the band she was there to see, but that's a long story.
Just snatched right up, man, right there on the spot, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And, after my kid Christmas party was born, and I say that because there was a lot of alcohol involved at that Christmas party. 9 months later, I had a son. I kind of figured I was stuck with her for a little while at least. So the German government sent us to Russia, or
okay,
former Soviet Union rather,
right?
And from there we went to Berlin.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, so, did you name the beautiful child Christmas?
No. This was the boy. So he's not named Christmas. The girl was a New Year's Eve party, and after that I learned my lesson, and I don't drink that much anymore.
Usually I would say, how that happens, right? But in your case, man, you just got to stay away from the parties.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? Hey, children are a gift. There's nothing better than kids. And, you can't say that they weren't conceived in celebrations. That's wonderful.
That's right.
So you're a father too. You're a musician. Man, folks, I want you to go buy this guy's music. Your story alone, Will, makes me want to buy all your music.
Yeah. Hey, both kids are in college. So, stream it as much as you can. Buy it. I am broke.
Man, well, you know what? What's the when you go to a restaurant, for the first time, it's always good to ask, one of the locals, or especially one of the wait staff or the manager, what's the best thing to get here for your first endeavor, your first time. So when coming to sample your incredible cuisine of music and festive inspirations, where do we start? What's a song you recommend to start out with?
That is probably the best question that anyone has ever asked me, and the hardest one too, since I wrote pretty much everything that's up there except for Maggie May, obviously that's a cover.
Right.
It's difficult because they're all so close to you. They're all part of you, or maybe even experience things that you've experienced. I would say the most recent one is probably a good indicator of what you're going to get, because it's not quite country, it's not quite rock, and it's not quite blues, but you can hear everything from it. It's a little bit of a slower song, which is not necessarily an indicator of everything that you're going to hear from us.
Sure,
but
you're versatile.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of every influence in there though, except for the bluegrass. But there's another song called "Mean Old Woman," not about my ex-wife. That's got the bluegrass influence.
Well, hey man, I can't wait to hear it. You know what? I met you very recently, and we put together this interview very fast. But I really look forward to supporting your cause and your music. Music, it marks our memory. We need all the positive and real music that we can get this day and age. Being in the media, media got us where we are, good or bad, happy or sad. Media. I mean, art, music, television, you name it, media, and all the mediums also has the power to teach us things take us to a better place, inspire us. And I tell you what, I'm inspired just by talking to you, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know how much you talk during your concerts, Will, but you could be a comedian as well. Just telling your...
Our drummer was the comedian. He was actually a touring comedian for a while.
Yeah.
That worked out so well for him. He plays drums for us now.
Wow.
So yeah, what in the? My dog just ran into my desk. All right.
Hey, all right. Fun. Well, hey, what's your dog's name? He's part of the show now.
That's Chewy, and he's not named after the Star Wars character. He's named after that because he chewed up the tabletop when we first got him.
All right.
Little 10.5-pound dog. I don't know how he reached the tabletop to this day, but he did it. So,
well, hey, you and Chewy have a fantastic day. I know you got a lot going on, but folks, if you go to Vanwinkle.Band, Vanwinkle.Band, you can reach that hub and have access to the different places to find Will's music. Will, I really can't wait to buy your music. I'm going to buy some today.
All right. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And you know what, folks, it's so important. Now, Will, in the introduction, I mentioned sometimes it's better to be an independent artist. I would dare to say all the time in this day and age, it's so easy to create something great and release it to the world. And you don't have to give away your soul or your rights. I get to interview a lot of celebrities, Will, and it would shock you, or it might not shock you, how many of these celebrities are incredible, but many cannot even sell their own music because they don't own the rights to it. And the masters have conveniently been lost. But you don't have to do that. And with people that are genuinely enthusiastic about musicians and independent musicians like me, I'm happy to support your cause. Folks, I want you to go to Vanwinkle.Band right now. Buy up all the music you can. Support independent artists because that's where it starts. And great things ahead, I believe, are in store for you, Will. I can't wait to talk to you again for your next release.
Thanks, man. It was great talking to you.
All right, Will. Well, you take care. And folks, we'll see you next time on the Independent Music Spotlight.